Okay guys, welcome to the channel today. It's Saturday, May 9th. As you can see by the watch, just 20 minutes before the noontime bell. And we're just getting some extra fuel on board. We're gonna fuel up the dark, or sorry, it's not the dark night anymore. Big surprise, changes do happen. We'll get into that just in a little bit. But yeah, we're gonna fill up the bike and we're gonna head out of town. Well, the Narcisse Snake Dens, which has a population, there's like 100,000 garter snakes that are all mass entwined into a mating ritual, I guess, as it is. They all hibernate together. It's closed, so we've been south 3 times, down on the Salle River, and it was just time for something different. So, it was time to get out and head west. We're going to head out to Beaudry Provincial Park. And let's see what kind of trouble we can get in. Right now I'm just taking a bicycle path, as you can see clearly marked on the sign there. I'm not really sure if they like a gas engine running down there, but well, you know, you can't please everybody. So we're just heading on our way to Assiniboine Park. It's the park that is adjacent or attached to the Assiniboine Zoo. I'm not a fan of zoos. I think that not everything in this world is meant for man's pleasure and enjoyment. If you want to see a polar bear, head on up to Churchill, baby. They got lots of them up there. Not quite sure what this little creek is. I do believe it could be Sturgeon Creek. Not too sure. Alright, quick change. I'm in the Assiniboine Park, and we just did a quick camera change. Just to give you a different perspective on how the bike runs, how to get it started, etc. I just popped the clutch there, and the bike is running. But we are on a walk path, so we're not. We're just taking it slow, taking things easy. Alright, we got by a few people there, and we're just coming out the trail. These paths are awfully rough if you're on a bike that does any speed and very little suspension. So it's time to hit the asphalt. It's a gorgeous day. Temperature was at this time of the day was about 1 degree above zero. Forecasted to get to +3 above zero for the day and -10 for the night. Winds would start gusting in the afternoon up to 50 kilometers an hour. As you can see, I still talk to myself all the time. If there's a camera rolling, I'm talking away, and yeah. So, but yeah, a beautiful day at this point of the day. It's just a blue jay day. The wind was pretty much at day at this point in the time of the day. So it was very pleasant to be out on the bike. At this point I realized I'm going to pop my clutch. There we go. Crank on the throttle a little bit. Now we're up and started. There we go. I didn't build this bike to do 800 miles an hour, but if I need to scoot around a parked car, it's nice to be able to pull that throttle back and get it done. But it was at this point that I realized that I had pinched somehow my rear brake cable. So I had no rear brakes. All I was running was a front brake on this trip. So an oversight on my packing of the luggage onto the rear rack. Maybe the 2-liter water bottle, the way I had it stuffed on there, but you'll see all that stuff in a while. But so we were being a little cautious. It was a year ago that I got hit by a car on a bicycle, and I wasn't looking to put myself in the same similar situation. So we're just taking it easy. So like I said, it's a beautiful day. What's the big idea of rushing and hurrying and getting ourselves hurt? So you can tell Manitoba roads, boy, they certainly do have something left to be desired, that's for sure. grab the clutch. Now, normally what I would do is I would yank on some brake and then grab the clutch. But when you're coasting and, you know, just trying to save fuel and save brakes, just pull the clutch. When I hit my thumb there, maybe I'll go back and re-show that. But when I hit my thumb there, that's the kill switch. I don't leave it running, sitting there idling at a red light or anything. Okay, so now what we see is we're outside of the city. This is past the Perimeter Highway, Highway number 1, and we are heading off towards Headingley, as you can plainly see. And this is Roblin Road, route number 95. It's route 95. This is just coming into the back end of Headingley, Manitoba. And like I say, we're not going to make a fool of ourselves, get ourselves hurt, and at the same point in time, I don't want to just go racing out, have somebody hit me and ruin their weekend as well. You know, that's not right either. So this pathway was very, very, extremely rough. But when I realized how fun it was, ripped that throttle just a little bit. There was nobody around, nobody walking around on the path until I come off the path on this section and I hit the road. It's to go around some people that were on the path, but it's a lot of fun coming through around here. Rough, boy. Oh, jeez, is it rough. Now I'm carrying all my weight up high. I got 2-liter pop bottle with water, I got a 1-liter bottle of water, I got another bottle of water, I got a liter of fuel, and I have another liter of water on my handlebars. All this weight is way up high, and it's right in around here somewhere that I just about lose it. Give her some juice here, get over these bumps, and it's right up in this next section where I pretty much almost lose her. But looking back at the film, I wouldn't even really have to mention it to you, but truth be told, yeah, the weight is just up a little too high, and we're gonna have to get that weight down lower just for maneuverability, controllability. But the bike's pretty much dialed in other than that, and of course pinching the back brake cable does nobody any good. Now, if the reason why you're wondering why I'm swerving around like I am, it's not because I'm punch drunk or anything. It's right here that I almost lose it. It's basically, it's like driving your car. You don't drive your car down the road and try to not avoid the potholes. And right there is where I just about ate it. Fun. But you don't drive your car down the road and just drive through all the potholes. You get around, you know, and so that's what all the swerving's about. So this is the back end of Beaudry Provincial Park. This is the Oak Trail. I've never been here before. I noticed that people were hiking on it. I got the bike turned off. I'm just pushing right now. And basically what I'm doing right now is I'm looking for a place out of the wind. The wind had just started picking up. And of course, you know, Murphy's Law, it's always going to be against you 99% of the time. Let's put it this way. I would have been sitting at camp if I was on a canoe trip right now. I would have been winded in, so but I'm just trying to get somewhere out of the wind and enjoy some lunch before I head into the park proper. And this is our elevation. You can see how wet the ground is here. This is Beaudry is a low-lying river. It's the silt bed for the river. The whole area is huge. Mind you, Winnipeg and surrounding area was built in the bottom of a lake many years ago, and so there's a lot of wet places. Well, I finally made my mark. Beaudry Provincial Park. Little picnic area here off to the right. It's good for like a family or a grouping or whatever. That's just as soon as you come in down the road, probably about half a kilometer from the picture with me at the sign. Here you can start to see, if you take a look at that riverbank, you can start to see how much erosion that the rivers here go through with fluctuation and current. And this is a park, and I was kind of dismayed. There's signs everywhere. You must have your park passes, your parking, your vehicle permits showing. There's no park office. There's a couple outhouses, you know, that are made of brick, but that's all they are. It's just outhouses. There's a map thing there, and a couple walking trails, and a nice picnic area. There's nowhere to camp, and I was very disappointed in that. This was the only place for information. You know, there's no maps, there's no little pamphlets that talk about the park, except for this, which they could have done a better job of throwing some information out. But so basically what I'm doing now is I'm just going to tuck the bike in, you know, where it has something solid for the kickstand and out of the wind, because at this point the wind is really starting to pick up. Probably blowing on average 35 kilometers an hour. I don't want to drop my bike. So I get off and I have a little look around, and I'm trying to come up with a game plan in my head, but you know, so now I'm like, oh geez, where to park? I know there's walking trails here, but just too many work trucks in the parking lot, to be honest with you, just to leave that thing locked up to something. So I take off. Now I'm heading out in the back part. There's some ponds here for migrating waterfowl, and I'm looking for a place to camp. It's really wet back here. I think that I found a place to camp up, but the problem is that there are these humongous, I mean humongous, like 3.5 feet tall anthills that are probably about as big around, like at least 6 to 7 feet in diameter over here on this grass part. And so I mean, I'm not going to camp up there. I don't have a tent. All I have is a tarp for camping. So there's absolutely no bug protection. I wasn't thinking about bug protection. So here's a look at the new bike. It's aluminum frame, aluminum rims with a front suspension. We made some adjustments to the air breather, poked some holes in there, and that red thing is kind of like a Ram Air scoop. A nice narrow profile, lots of pedal room. We have a camera mounted monopod hose clamp to the frame, 2 liters of water, all our camp gear is there, but it's still way too high up in the air. It's just, there's not a lot of stability. I got to get that weight down in some pannier bags. I have to do something like that. So, but you can see the handlebars are all cleaned up nicely, because I had moved even the gear selector for the rear derailleur has been moved to the very back of the bike, behind and underneath the seat. So finding nowhere good to camp up, out of the wind and out of shelter and out of public view, basically, I figure it's time to get out of the park and see if we can find somewhere else to camp up. There's supposedly a 10-kilometer trail that I'm I'm looking for right now. And this is funny because I thought, hey, here's a trail here. I didn't know what it was, but this is where I came down to enter into the park the first place. So I thought I'd strike a pose and you know, leave everybody happy and get off. And I found my trail, and there's a couple of mountain bikers here. We're gonna wave to each other and bid each other fairly well. Of course, I'm on a motorized bicycle, so I stay out of the way. But once I get past this guy, it's hard at speed to see dips and ruts and holes. So I get back onto the trail here where I can actually see what's going on. This trail that I'm on is 10 kilometers. It's called the Headingley Grand Trunk Trail. It's an old railway bed that they had ripped the tracks out of, and they turned it into a public use area, which I think is awesome. So I mean, it saves a lot of money. They didn't have to go and cut trees out of the way to make the trail. They did install this beautiful bridge that I'm about to go ripping over. pop a wheelie, and I'm on the bridge. Beautiful, beautiful brand new bridge, and away we go. I'm gonna crack the throttle right here, right now, and we're gonna let some gravel fly. And she's wide open. Away we go. But as you can see, you didn't have any trees to be cut, you know, because it's an old railway bed that hasn't been that inactive for that long. Jump on the horse here, and we started off. Couple good kicks, drop that clutch, crank that throttle, and we're at speed. Away we go. The wind is really starting to kick now. You might see it in the trees, or even just the luggage straps, or for my backpack that I have on my person. You see those straps come whipping around every once in a while. That wind is really hitting me on the left-hand side, and just really pushing me towards the right. So there might be a few places where you'll see me. I'll try to get right over to the yeah, just like that. Get around these bumps, but I'm looking for some tree cover. I gotta stay on this side because a couple of times I almost got blown right over and off the trail, and you know, of course that's when Murphy's gonna say, hey, here's a hole. Yeah, a little friendly conversation with a guy on a bicycle, and we're gonna shut it down here because there's a lady walking her dog, and the last thing I need to do is be upside down with a dog on top of me. And away we go. And you notice there's no rubbish, there's no garbage. Oops, what's this? This is what I've been looking for, something to tell me what I'm on. Gives me a little bit of map, it gives me you know, some waypoints on there. And it's also part of the Great Trail, which I was so stoked to know. So not to be a pain in the butt in the guy on the bicycle that's actually pedaling and working hard, I let him go and change camera views again. And it's right here, I'm just sailing along, I'm just trying to maintain an upright balance with the wind just shoving me around all over the place. Got some throttle on her right now. And I happened to look over, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, what is that? I thought it was cows at first. When I realized what it is, I kill that engine, I slam them brakes, man, I bring that thing to a screeching halt. And this is an absolute running gun. I mean, I park the bike, I dump my bag off my back, I dump in, I grab my DSLR. Now the wind is coming from my back, these guys can smell me, but I shut the bike down in proper time. And for whatever reason, you know, I guess they're living close to humans, they're not that worried of me. They start taking off. Once again, I can't tell you, every single trip out, even today, this just being a day trip, I am blessed with something. Stars, owls, in this case, today it's the deers. And there's a lot of deer in this herd. And you can't help but not love being in the outdoors when every trip out you're blessed with something. Guys, I really hope that you like this video. If you do, give this thing a thumbs up. If you appreciate beautiful looking wildlife, give this video a thumbs up, man. Really appreciate you coming along. Thank you so kindly for your hang time. And until the next one, get out, stay out. What a beautiful scene.